Hey guys, tonight we slip back through time into the hush of ages past, where firelight flickers against cave walls and the sky brims with stars you've only seen in documentaries. You probably won't survive this journey unruffled. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop your location and local time in the comments so we can all feel like a global campfire circle. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You trudge into a world where the simple act of lying down required ceremony. Beneath your feet, grass and reeds once cushioned. Early humans, and by around 77,000 years ago, archaeologists believe people were piling soft greenery atop raised stone slabs to craft the first beds. The scent of crushed grass earthy sweet drifts through your senses. In this Paleolithic realm, sleep wasn't just rest. It was a ritual of survival. Here in that world, a crackling fire at dusk signaled more than bedtime warmth. Sprinkled ash at the circle's edge, believing the smoldering residue would keep malevolent night spirits at bay. You can almost taste the charcoal on your tongue as smoke curls overhead, reaching for moonlight. Historians still argue whether these ashes served a spiritual purpose or simply helped clear insects from the campfire area. Fringe tidbit whispers that some tribes tucked orchid petals under their heads, convinced these flowers could ferry dream visions straight from the spirit realm. Think of it as the first essential oil diffuser minus the fancy glass bottle. Today, you might roll your eyes at such practices, but imagine settling your skull on a pillow smelling like orchid-studded swamp. It's equal parts enchanting and slightly questionable, like that lotion you found on clearance at CVS. Night limbs extend across the camp, and you watch as elders begin to murmur soft songs. Their voices, low and rhythmic, are said to mimic the cadence of a mother's heartbeat. Modern science confirms lullabies help synchronize breathing and heart rate, calming young ears and minds. That knowledge may feel fresh, but lullabies' soothing power is as old as sleep itself. It's the original white noise machine, just without the smartphone app that drains your battery. As you lie upon your makeshift bed, a wolf's howl pierces the darkness. You hold your breath, certain the sound could shred any hope of slumber. But beside you, a young hunter hums a comforting tune while rhythmically stamping a small pile of crushed garlic into the embers. Garlic, they swear, wards off nightmares and prowling creatures alike. If you think that's odd, consider how some of us still rely on nightlights or those neon-screened filters to chase away digital demons. Sleep anxieties haven't changed much, Only the tools have evolved. In that dim glow, storytellers step forward, reciting tales of ancestors who negotiated with moon spirits to grant peaceful rest. The assembly leans in, eyes reflecting embers as every listener hopes to glean a secret that might cure tossing and turning. It's easy to scoff at myths, but you might notice how your heartbeat slows as you absorb the story. The communal hush, weaving a cocoon of calm. Even today, group sleepovers and bedtime stories build that same sense of safety. A particularly quirky practice. Some tribes carved thistle-root charms 2 inches long, hanging them above sleeping mats. The root's prickly nature was thought to snag nightmares before they reached dreamers' heads. Imagine your grandmother pinning dried thistle to your pillow baths, protective and mildly uncomfortable. Still, you'd probably take the prickles over a full-blown bad dream any day, all around you. The world grows quieter, save for the soft rustle of wind through grass bedding and the crackle of coals. The night sky arches above, pinpricks of light that our ancestors watched with reverence. They mapped sleep cycles to lunar phases, convinced dark moons ushered deeper rest. Today's circadian research shows light exposure does influence sleep quality, though we dim screens instead of performing. Moonlit rites. Historians still argue whether ancient sky-gazing rituals held more spiritual weight, or if there were early forms of timekee-ping. You stretch on your grassy mattress and wonder if these rituals did more than coax sleep. Perhaps they forged community bonds, aligning hearts and minds under a single celestial canopy. There's power in shared silence. You roll onto your side, the grass whispering beneath you like an old friend tapping your shoulder. As eyelids grow heavy, you sense that humanity's earliest sleep solutions were as much about belonging as about shutting off consciousness. Tonight, as you nestle into your modern mattress, remember those first sleepers arranging grass and embers. To chase away fear, your electric blanket might not need ash or thistle charms, but the human yearning for a safe and scented night's rest remains unchanged. Sweet dreams, and, if nightmares tap on your window, you know exactly which ancient trick to borrow. You shift slightly, eyes half-lidded, as the scene around you fades into the clay-walled courtyard of a Sumerian homestead just after sunset. The air carries a faint sweetness and aroma you'd later recognize as wormwood, that bitter herb famed for keeping restless spirits and nightmares at bay. A servant gently places a rectangular pillow crafted from woven reeds at your head. You catch a whiff of frankincense mingled with crushed rose petals. This isn't your average down comforter. It's more like sleeping on a botanical potion. Archaeological digs in Uruk and Kish have unearthed such reed pillows dating back to around 3000 BC, showing that Sumerians prized sleep accessories as much as they did pottery and cuneiform tablets. Pillows signified status. Commoners sometimes slumbered on bundled textiles, while nobles rested their heads on these scented sacks of luxury. Historians still argue whether reed pillows were widespread domestic items or primarily reserved for the elite and funerary rites, but either way, you definitely wouldn't want to stub your toe on one. Your fingers graze the textured pillowcase, broidered with clay-stamped symbols invoking the goddess Nanj to guard your dreams. Fringe lore insists that you'd fluff the cushion 3 times before bed to awaken its protective spirit. Some whisper that those little clay talismans sewn into the seams housed minor benevolent deities who intercepted nightmares. Picture a tiny dream bouncer patrolling your subconscious, refusing entry to anything more threatening than a midterm exam about to ambush you at dawn. When you lay down, the wormwood's slightly medicinal temps tickles your nose, like sipping herbal tea, meant to summon sleep rather than chase it away. You might chuckle at the thought of amphory full of dream-inducing herbs. Walmart wasn't an option back then, yet this practice resonates with modern aromatherapy. Today, you spritz lavender, linen mist, or stick a sachet under your mattress. The Sumerians did it centuries earlier with frankincense that could double as an insect repellent. It's the original pillow spray, minus the fancy label and Instagram influencer endorsement. A curious bit of fringe tradition: some Sumerians tucked tiny clay figurines of owls into their pillows. The owl, symbol of wisdom, was thought to stay awake while you slept, relaying omens from the spirit realm. Imagine waking up to an owl peering at you from the pillow cozy. If your idea of bedtime includes ceramic wildlife staring you down, still, you'd probably accept an owl statuette over dealing with a real nightmare involving surprise pop quizzes or awkward video calls, as the courtyard torches gutter in the dusk. An elder recites an incantation. Let no shadow cross your sleep. Let only visions of bounty greet your eyes. That melodic chant feels surprisingly like the soft ASMR whispers some of us watch on our phones, though these chants required you to endure full volume, no mute button. Scholars still debate whether such verbal rituals had genuine psychological benefits or were symbolic theater reinforcing communal beliefs. Either way, the mere act of listening to a familiar chant could coax your muscles to unclench. The evening breeze rustles the reeds overhead, and you hear the distant clattering of goats in their pens. You close your eyes, the wormwood and rose. Haze swelling around you in a sensory cloud. Just as you begin to drift, a servant glides in to scatter a handful of bay leaves onto the reed mat. Bay, they said, promoted prophetic dreams and kept your mind agile. If only someone had invented caffeine-free coffee back then, no rambling midnight thoughts about spreadsheets and to-do lists. You'd trade that bay leaf toss for a cold brew any day. Your breath slows, syncing with the faint chant echoing through corridors of time. In this hush, you feel the boundary blur between waking thought and dreaming mind. The soft pillow beneath your cheek like a cradle rocking your consciousness. Remember that charcoal and orchid petal aroma back in the Paleolithic camp? This is just a more cultivated cousin, both chasing the same goal. A safe harbor for your tired mind. Sleep rituals may adapt chords of reed and clay versus blankets and diffusers, but the urge to tame the night remains universal. Your eyelids drop fully now, and the scent of ancient herbs floods your imagination. You picture tiny Sumerian dream. Guardians perched within the pillow seems vigilant against any nightmares skulking in your head. As you descend into slumber, you appreciate that even millennia ago, folks understood that sleep needed coaxing through scent, symbol, and soft-spoken words. You might not wake with a prophecy in your hand, but you'll certainly rest a little more soundly. It's comforted by the knowledge that humanity has orchestrated the perfect night's sleep since before anyone coined the word pillow fight. You awaken slightly, as though someone has silk-lined your eyelids, and find yourself transported to a shaded pavilion beside the Nile, where a gentle breeze flutters through billowing linen drapes hanging over a raised wooden frame. Fibers spun from flax plants have been woven into sheets so fine they feel like the wing of a heron brushing your skin. Archaeological evidence shows that as early as 3500 BC, Egyptians were weaving linen sheets for sleep, elevating beds to cool bodies above the hot, sand-warmed floors of their mud brick homes. You might think that's just comfortable luxury, but for them, it was vital. They called these raised beds takat, and they were the first known attempt at climate-controlled slumber. Historians still argue whether such beds were common among all classes or mainly a privilege of nobles and priests. But either way, they've earned a spot in the Hall of Fame for early HVAC enthusiasts. You lean back and let the linen canopy swoop overhead, imagining it as a primitive air conditioner, minus the remote control and minus your electric bill. The Ascori servants had learned to drape the sheets just so, funneling the cooler evening air from the riverbank right over your chest, like Mother Nature's gentle fan. Fringe lore insists these linens were scented with myrrh and lotus oil at dusk, so that inhaling deeply would sweeten dreams and perhaps encourage visions of the afterlife. Some even swore that within those oils lurked microscopic flecks of gold tiny glitter dust to remind you that even your dreams deserve to feel luxurious. It's a bit extra, but then again, who doesn't like a little sparkle under the covers? Below you, the mattress is stuffed with layers of palm leaf fragments and straw, a contrast to your modern memory foam that might leave a few stray needles poking your side at 3 a.m. Remember how you complained about your last foam topper? Try negotiating with a stray palm stem, yet there's a logic here. The plant stuffing offered slight insulation. It's keeping night sweats at bay and, if you got too warm. Servants would pour chilled water in small alabaster bowls around the bed's perimeter so that as it evaporated, it whisked heat away. If only today's bedside humidifiers did double duty as evaporative coolers. Historians still argue whether Egyptians truly mastered this evaporative technique, or if it was more of a ritualistic sprinkling. But the results, wet-free slumber, was certainly enviable. You notice how the canopy's color shifts in the fading light from bleached white to a honeyed cream. Natural dyes extracted from madder, root, and safflower petals gave linens their pastel hues. And many sheets were stamped with hieroglyphs offering blessings. May your nights be sweet as honey, your dreams overflow with prosperity. A fringe belief holds that some families applied actual honey onto sheet corners, thinking its stickiness would trap nightmares like flies on a smear. Imagine waking up to a crumpled honey-scented sheet, sticky hair, and all just so the Sandman doesn't slip in with bad dreams. There's a certain commitment there. Historians still argue whether these honey applications were widespread or mere eccentricities of a few households with sticky fingers. Your fingers drift across the embroidered edge, or tiny protective spells, minuscule enough to fit on a neat finger, are woven into the hem. These charms were said to ward off the deity Ape, the serpent god of chaos, who might otherwise tighten coils around your mind during sleep. Engraved ivory combs and small amulets sat atop bedside tables, each one a votive offering for peaceful rest. Quirky explorers even claim that metal rods placed under mattresses could tap into Earth's natural magnetic fields, aligning bodily energies to foster lucid dreaming. Modern sleep gadgets promise the same by beeping at just the right REM phase. Humans obviously love any excuse to tinker with their subconscious. All around you, torches gutter as the sky deepens to indigo. A gentle chime echoes perhaps from a water clock in the courtyard, marking the hour when most Egyptians would settle into this cocoon of linen and ritual. You inhale the mingled aroma of damp river mud, crushed lotus petals, and faint ambergris, and allow your body to sink into that cool straw mattress. You might yawn and crack a smile. Ancient innovation or not, this feels like the ultimate sleep hack. Even if you have blackout curtains and a white noise app, there's something visceral about feeling the night air waft through billowing cloth. Sleep becomes a sensory orchestration rather than mere unconsciousness. As you drift toward sleep, you reflect on how these Egyptians managed to sweeten slumber hundreds of generations before anyone called it sleep hygiene. Their methods were equal parts engineering and spellcraft, layering practical cooling techniques with fragrance and protective symbolism. You might flick on your smart thermostat and assume you've got sleep perfected, but every time you summon your diffuser or flop beneath your duvet, you're echoing that same human impulse to tailor the night to your needs, to transform bare rest into ritualized comfort. In a few moments, dreams will claim you. And perhaps you'll find yourself wandering moonlit temple courtyards instead of fields of barley. Yet beneath it all, the craving for a cool, scented, safe bed is identical. Your lids grow heavy, and the linen canopy above wavers as though caught in a soft current of dream-stirring energy. A final thought drifts in. Centuries later, Greek physicians would debate about humors and the body's internal springs, trying to tie physical temperament to sleep quality. But for now, you simply let the Nile breeze lull you, and you appreciate that these ancient architects of rest got two major things: right temperature control and scent therapy. You surrender to the hush beneath the canopy, ready to drift into a sweetly chilled dream. You stir as dawn's pale olive light filters through a lattice of grapevines, carrying a tang of dew-soaked figs and the distant bray of a donkey winding along a marble path. The world around you shifts from scented Egyptian canopies to a whitewashed courtyard in Kos, where marble pillars frame an open-air clinic devoted to Hippocrates himself. You sink onto a goatskin rug laid atop cool stone, remembering the reed pillows, lotus-scented sheets, and clay talismans you've left behind. Here, sleep isn't just a nightly escape, it's a barometer of bodily balance, a theme Hippocratic physicians wrote about around 400 BC. when they first claimed that for humors coursing through your veins determine everything from mood to your ability to drift off. You recline, feeling the rug's coarse fibers press into your calves, as a physician in a white tunic appears with scrolls in hand. He speaks of blood, phlegm, yellow, bile, and black bile for elemental fluids, whose proportions dictate whether you nap like a kitten or toss in fevered restlessness. Too much phlegm, they believed, makes you lethargic. The couch potato of sleepers, while excess blood leads to vivid dreams, as if you've binge-watched a drama series all night. An overabundance of yellow bile picture bad morning breath of the Sultriggers, fitful twitching and haunted visions of scorpions, and too much black bile, the melancholic dark horse, drags you into deep, depressive slumber or restless dread. Historians still argue whether these humoral diagnoses were widely practiced beyond medical elites or largely confined to scholarly practitioners. A quirky tidbit surfaces. You spy a small leather pouch tied to the physician's belt containing ground viper's fang. Slip a pinch under your tongue, they claimed, and your black bile would burn away, leaving you tranquil enough to nap through a Spartan battlefield. You might chuckle at the absurdity. Imagine taking snake dust instead of your nightly melatonin. Gummy butt, in a world where labeling anxiety and insomnia simply bad humors made sense. It felt as logical as swiping right on a sleep tracking app. Modern biohackers swear by nootropics. Ancient Greeks downed venom powder. Different names, similar desperation. You lean back against a column carved with a laurel wreath and inhale the sharp, herby aroma of silphium, a now extinct plant once prized for its sedative properties. Silphium resin, you learn, was distilled into a potion so rare that only wealthier patients received a nightly dose. Fringe practitioners claimed that if you splashed a drop on your pillowcase, you'd awaken with prophetic visions of future Olympic victors. It's hard not to smirk, imagining yourself groggily predicting the 100-meter dash winners before coffee. Scholars still debate whether silphium's hypnotic claims were real pharmacology or simply marketing genius by the island's merchants. A soft breeze rustles through a nearby olive tree, and you remember the Sumerians coaxing sleep with wormwood sachets and Egyptians sprinkling lotus oil. Now, you're lulled by humoral balance theories that read your body like a weather vane, directing you toward a personalized sleep prescription. A student scribbles notes in chalk, listing foods to tame black bile lentils, barley, and sometimes goat yogurt. You picture a modern nutritionist's meal plan and can't help but giggle. Tonight's dinner menu of lentil soup might cure insomnia or give you enough gas to keep you awake. Either way, you'd be following in Hippocrates' footprints. Nearby, a woman practices gentle marma massage on herself, pressing specific points on her temples and ankles to rebalance her humors. You recall Indian yogis twisting into scrut pretzel shapes at twilight and think, at least here, nobody's instructing you to stand on your head. Still, you'd pay to see a how-to video called 5 Greek marma hacks for lucid dreams. Just don't ask who films it. As the sun climbs, the courtyard fills with debates over the best way to diagnose humoral imbalance. One philosopher insists, phlebotomy, draining a bit of blood, resets your system. Another swears that a hot bath infused with chamomile does the trick. You spot a row of bronze cups poised for cupping therapy, another tool for siphoning off excess fluid. Historians still argue whether such practices genuinely restored sleep patterns or merely reinforced the placebo power of ritual. You shrug, accustomed by now to the idea that belief itself can coax you to rest. A low chime from a bronze gong echoes across the courtyard, and the physician nods, signaling the communal siesta. You lie back, goat skin rustling, turmeric-scented oil still clinging to your temples, and let the humoral prognosis settle. Your mind drifts between the tick of cupping therapy suction and the whisper of the olive groves overhead. If your phlegm was out of whack, you imagined it swirling like a lazy brook. If your bile lurked too deep, you felt its edges sharpen like an untuned lyre string. Amid this gentle haze, if you notice a fringed charm, a tiny bronze frog figurine tied to your ankle, it's said to croak only in the realm of dreams, guiding you toward restful waters. You wouldn't be surprised if that frog ends up on eBay someday. It's marketed as vintage Greek dream toad, guaranteed ribbit in your REM cycle. Sleep hacks really haven't changed much. Only the packaging does. Your eyelids droop, breathing deep and even. You reflect on how far you've drifted from rolling on grassy beds perfumed with orchid petals and crackling ashes, or the cool linen pavilions scented with lotus. Yet the impulse is the same. Human beings tailoring their night by altering bodily or environmental factors to nestle safely into sleep. Today, your Fitbit tracks sleep stages. Then, humoral theory reads your innards like a scroll. You drift off. In that courtyard, lulled by an understanding that sleep isn't just the absence of wakefulness, but a delicate equilibrium of body and mind. Before dreams reclaim you, you grin at the thought that while you might never sip Viper's Fang or tie a bronze toad to your ankle again, you'll always experiment through apps, pills, or pillow sprays to chase that perfect slumber. You sense a gentle shift as waves of imagined steam wash over you, and suddenly you're reclining on a marble bench in a colossal Roman therme. Columns soar overhead, draped in silk banners. And the air's warm moisture carries a complex bouquet lavender rue and crushed poppy seed. This is the realm of Somnus salts, concoctions celebrated from Pompeii to Rome's Palatine Hill for their reputed power to soothe the mind before bed. You lean back against polished stone, letting droplets from an overhead fountain patter onto your temples, a bathhouse lullaby rivaling any modern sleep playlist. Archaeological records and writings by Pliny the Elder around 77 AD document recipes for these bath salts: sea salt mixed with dried flowers, aromatic woods, and oils. Mainstream historians confirm that wealthy Romans believed a soak infused with these mixtures would quiet racing thoughts, calm the pulse, and prep the body for deeper sleep. Historians still argue whether these ritual baths were daily self-care routines for the masses or extravagant spa treatments reserved for the senatorial class. Either way, if you think your nightly shower is indulgent, imagine scrubbing off a day's worth of toga grime in a tub scented with rare oils. Your fingertips brush a shallow basin filled with pale pink crystals. Rue petals float atop, their bitter aroma cutting through the sweetness of lavender. Fringe lore claims that if you whisper your worries into the bubbling water, the rue will absorb them, leaving you anxiety-free. Picture asking your bathroom tub to swallow your stress, probably more effective than dumping them on social media. You might smirk, imagining a modern emotion soak TikTok challenge where everyone dumps a jar of rue into a bathtub and records their tears dissolving in brine. Nearby, a perfumed attendant prepares a concoction of poppy, sap, and honey. Just a taste, they insist, and you'll drift off like a ship cutting through a midnight sea. Quirky Roman herbalists sometimes stirred poppy extract with crushed turtle shell, convinced that its earthly solidity grounded the dreamer. Admittedly, that sounds like a reptile-themed beverage you'd find at a music festival, minus the glow sticks. Yet, in a world without standardized dosage, a turtle shell latte was as plausible as a modern gummy bear loaded with melatonin. You step into the heated pool, and the water envelopes you in a velvety embrace that makes your modern jacuzzi feel like an ice bucket challenge by comparison. As you exhale, you recall the Sumerian wormwood pillows and Egyptian linens, scented with lotus, and you realize Rome borrowed from everywhere. They twisted Greek humoral theories into their luxury spas, blending humoral balance with aquatic indulgence. Historians still argue whether these Greek-Roman hybrids were medical prescriptions by physicians or marketing ploys by entrepreneurial bathhouse owners. A playful ripple nudges your shoulder, okay? And you remember that goat's milk, poultices, and chamomile tea were the Greek root to drowsiness here. It's salts and steam. A banner overhead proclaims Somnus curatio, the sleep cure. Fringe. Practitioners sometimes embedded small iron nails in the salts, believing that the metal's weight would anchor you to the waking world just long enough to ease you into rest, warding off sudden wakings. It's like wearing weighted blankets centuries before they were trendy, though perhaps less comfortable if the nails poked through. Some Romans even carried miniature phials of dried salt with them, throwing a pinch into their evening meal as a digestive aid to calm the stomach and quiet the mind, according to medical texts. You might laugh, picturing crushed garlic and onion ring with a dash of sleep salt at your local fast food joint. Yet digestion and sleep are still intertwined. Modern people reach for chamomile tea or valerian root pills after a heavy dinner, echoing the ancients' belief that tranquility starts in the gut. All around you, fellow bathers recline on mosaic benches, eyes glimmering with drowsy contentment. You overhear hushed debates. One matron insists applying a paste of poppy and olive oil to your eyelids guarantees lucid dreams of Venus. Another swears by sprinkling rose petals and buckthorn berries over her pillow instead. Historians still argue whether these bedside preparations genuinely influenced dream content or were simply part of a nighttime theater that primed sufferers for relaxation. You shrug, recalling how bedtime routines, screens off, dim lights work the same psychological magic today. The attendant offers you a small bowl of cooled bathwater mixed with lavender and benzoin resin, the latter imported from distant Arabia. Benzoin's smoky sweet scent drifts in thick tendrils, and you inhale deeply, imagining each breath lulls your neurons into a slow wave lullaby. It's easy to picture a modern diffuser doing the same, yet here it's integrated into the very fabric of your bath. You tilt the bowl, letting a few droplets kiss your wrists, temples, and throat, as though painting your body with a sleepy watercolor. You sink until only your chin breaks the water surface, listening to the distant clatter of sandals on marble and the murmur of voices discussing next day's gladiator matches. A playful attendant squeaks a rubbery-toed figurine across your toes, another fringe token said to chase away nightmares by its comical croak, a precursor to the Dreamcatcher jingles. You giggle at the absurdity, but find yourself smiling, the rhythm of laughter softening into a contented sigh, bit by bit. You feel your limbs grow heavier, as if gravitating toward the bath's warm depths. You remember the medieval featherbeds, waiting centuries later, layered with lavender-stuffed pouches. Ancient Rome simply integrated fragrance into water instead of pillows. And though you might boast about your plush duvet and smartphone sleep tracker, the Roman Somnus salts remind you that sometimes an aromatic soak is all it takes to flip your mood switch from on to off. A final attendant drapes a lightweight woolen pallium around your shoulders, its coarse texture oddly comforting against your damp skin. A last flourish. She dribbles a streak of rose-colored wine at your lips, a tiny indulgence, believed to smooth digestion and tuck your nerves into a soft cradle. You sip slowly, tasting hints of honeyed grape and spice, the world tilting in a slow spin as you partake in this multi-sensory overture to slumber. Your eyes close of their own accord, the hush of the bathhouse melding with your thoughts until even that vanishes. In the soft half-light behind your lids, you replay the mingled scents of lavender, rue, and benzo, and the gentle murmur of water around you. For a moment, you almost swear you can feel that tiny iron nail anchoring your awareness just enough to drift without fear. Here, in this silent, warm embrace, you appreciate how Romans elevated nightly routines into communal rites, mixing medicine, luxury, and theater into a single steamy performance. As sleep beckons, you realize that every soak, every scented salt, every whispered incantation to Somnus, the god of dreams, was a testament to humanity's eternal quest to mold the night into a sanctuary where the mind can finally unclench and let go. You feel the Roman pallium dissolve into morning mist as your senses reawaken to the scent of saffron and sandalwood. Drifting through an open veranda in a humble ashram perched on the banks of a gently flowing river. Bright marigold garlands sway in the breeze, and you step onto a mat woven from banana fibers, its texture rough yet grounding beneath your bare feet. Here, in ancient India, around 500 BCE, Ayurvedic physicians wrote the Charaka Samhita, the world's oldest treatise on holistic healthcare. They first prescribed sleep not as an afterthought, but as the final chapter of daily self-care. Historians still argue whether these early texts guided every household's night ritual or primarily instructed Brahmin elites. Either way, you're about to discover why Ayurveda treats bedtime like a sacred ceremony. A gentle voice calls you to begin with Abhyanga, an oil massage meant to slow the racing mind. You pour warm sesame oil into cupped hands, inhaling its nutty warmth, and then smooth it over your arms, shoulders, and feet. The oil drips lightly onto the terracotta floor in glistening beads, and you smile at the absurdity of doing a full-body coconut oil. Slick just before bed, mind me to avoid chair back scrapes later. Its fringed lore suggests rubbing mustard seed paste behind your ears before sleep to sharpen your dreams with prophetic clarity. Imagine waking up, convinced you've glimpsed next week's lottery numbers, only to realize it was your mind making contact lens-sized work of fiction. Your body warms under the oil's embrace, and you shift into Uttanasana, the standing forward bend. Each exhale feels like wringing out the tension lodged between your shoulder blades, almost as effective as crumpling up your stress and tossing it in the river. You might chuckle at modern yoga influencers who pitch a 5-minute morning plank for overnight results. But here, these ancient poses were calibrated by trial and error, not Instagram likes. Historians still argue whether early Ayurvedic practitioners invented these postures strictly for sleep preparation or adapted them from warrior training regimens. Yet the fact remains, a well-executed forward bend can quiet the mind faster than scrolling through your phone's endless notifications. Next comes a cup of warm milk, sweetened with honey and a pinch of turmeric. You raise the clay rim of the tumbler and sip, to liquid sliding down with gentle sweetness, coating your throat like a lullaby on tap. Mainstream scholars point out that turmeric's anti-inflammatory properties were well documented even then, calming both body and mind before rest. A fringe prescription whispers of adding finely ground tree bark known as tricot to a blend of black pepper, long pepper, and ginger to ignite just enough digestive fire so your dreams aren't hijacked by indigestion-induced thrillers. It's comparable to downing a green smoothie at midnight and hoping you'll wake up fresh. But hey, sleepless nights were never for lack of creativity. You settle onto the mat, legs crossed in Sukhasana, and the teacher begins a soft chant. Om Shanti, Om Shanti. The vibration hums through your chest, a shared breath between you, the mantra, and the lingering incense spirals of camphor and jasmine. Modern science confirms that mantra meditation can lower cortisol levels, yet skeptics still argue whether the benefit belonged to the sacred syllables themselves, or simply too focused breathing. You decide it's both. As your jaw unclenches, you picture the Sumerian orchids, the Egyptian linen canopies, and the Roman lavender baths, all converging in this moment. Humanity's universal quest to sponge away the chaos of the day. A student next to you slides a small copper vessel across the floor, offering drops of medicated ghee infused with ashwagandha root. You tilt the vessel, allowing 2 golden droplets to rest on your tongue. The ashwagandha's earthy bitterness catches you off guard, kind of like trying to down pineapple juice at midnight, yet within moments. Your heart rate softens and anticipation of tomorrow's to-do list drifts away. Fringe enthusiasts claim that if you drizzle the same ghee behind your ears and on the crown of your head, it opens a dream channel to celestial realms. You wonder if dream merchants would ever market a celestial channel pillow spray until you realize they probably already have. The teacher instructs you to lie back and perform Shavasana, the corpse pose. You extend your arms, palms skyward, as though offering every scrap of tension to the heavens. A soft breeze brushes across your knees, carrying with it ripples of laughter from children chasing ducks in the river. You can almost hear modern sleep coaches urging you to let go of outcomes while clutching their 5-step guides here. The guide is your own breath. Scholars still debate whether Shavasana was originally intended for post-war battle recovery or strictly for spiritual practice, but as you sink, it feels like both. There's a sublime relief in pretending to be completely helpless, if only for a few breath cycles. Your eyelids gradually flutter closed, yet your ears stay primed to hear the creak of teakwood doors and the distant chanting from the temple. Bells at twilight. A fringe edition, some villages scatter powdered coral ash beneath a mat to absorb bad energies. It's almost like a spiritual carpet cleaner for negative vibes. Imagine vacuuming your aura every night minus the loud motor and the mist socks lodged in the crevice. You'd probably still prefer to schedule a paranormal exterminator if nightmares ever take root. But for now, the idea of coral ash underfoot makes perfect sense in this physics-defying ashram. A final practice remains, Nasya, the ritual nasal cleanse. You lean over a brass bowl filled with fragrant herbal decoction jasmine, rose, and licorice and inhale deeply through one nostril, imagining the soothing steam wafting through your sinuses. When you exhale, you feel a clearing, both literal and metaphorical, as though you've unplugged mental congestion. Modern neti pots promise similar sinus relief, though you'd likely cover your bathroom in water if you tried this at home. Historians still argue whether Nasya's primary aim was medicinal or symbolic purification. But either way, your head feels as light as a dandelion seed drifting on dusk air, as complete silence envelops the ashram. You trace the lineage of sleep. Rituals across continents, from Sumerian wormwood pillows to Egyptian linen canopies, Greek humoral theories, Roman Somnus salts, and now this delicate choreography of oils, postures, and chants. You sense that sleep here isn't an endpoint, but a crossing into inner landscapes, guided by tradition, scent, and the deliberate pausing of the breath. You might never achieve perfect lotus form or down an entire sesame oil massage before bedtime. Yet the message is clear. Preparation transforms sleep from a passive collapse into an active return to balance. Your breath deepens, your limbs soften, and you become one with the fragrant air moving across tile floors and sun-warmed walls. The last thing you sense before slipping away is the teacher's soft blessing. May you awaken calm as the lotus, peaceful as the moonlit pond. You let these words roll across your heart like soft pebbles in the river, and drift into a dreamscape curated by centuries of Ayurvedic wisdom. You find yourself in a hushed temple chamber where the air is rich with the heady fragrance of sandalwood, and the curling tendrils of incense slowly dissipate into the dark. The soft, ambient glow of paper lanterns plays over vast, silken walls, embroidered with intricate mandala designs. These mesmerizing renderings, drawn in sweeping strokes and delicate gradients of jade, indigo, and gold, invite you to lose yourself in their patterns. In this ancient Daoist sanctuary, Such mandalas were not mere decoration, they were sacred maps, guiding the sleeper's journey towards inner balance and transcendent dreams. Your eyes wander over designs that replicate the fluidity of water and the crisp angularity of stone. In the Tang dynasty, Daoist masters meticulously painted these mandalas on temple textiles, believing their geometric intricacy channeled cosmic energies into a healing embrace for restless minds. Mainstream historical accounts confirm that such patterns adorned the sanctuaries of meditation, aiming to align the energies of perfumed incense smoke and the heartbeat of every devotee. Historians still argue whether these artistic compositions were intended only to evoke awe or served as deliberate tools of therapeutic meditation. As you move closer to the wall, the visual rhythm of the mandalas appears to pulse in time with the gentle flicker of candlelight. A delicate interplay unfolds. The slow-burning incense releases spirals of smoke that mingle with the painted lines, blurring boundaries until the art seems to breathe. It is as if every brushstroke shares a secret, an invitation to synchronize your own pulse with that of the temple. A quirky legend from these times claims that certain Daoist practitioners would cut tiny replicas of these mandalas and tuck them beneath their pillows, confident that the miniature patterns could actively shape their dreams. Like downloading a bedtime screensaver that harmonizes your thoughts before sleep, your hand, almost of its own accord, reaches out to graze a worn silk tapestry hanging by a carved wooden beam. The fabric, softened with centuries of prayerful contact, carries whispered traces of ancient chants. Its edges are frayed as if they too have surrendered to the relentless passage of time. Yet the resplendent designs remain vibrant and enduring. Beacon of tranquil artistry. You can almost hear the murmur of recitations that once echoed in these corridors. The steady intonation of wisdom distilled into every symbol. In this dance of light, color, and sound, the mandala becomes a living lullaby, a quiet incantation to soothe the jittery modern mind beneath the visual spectacle. You detect a deep earthiness, the aroma of burning incense steeped with hints of chrysanthemum and clove. With each slow, deliberate breath, it's as though the incense smoke sculpts the edges of the mandalas anew, and you catch a glimpse of hidden patterns forming in the haze. The visions remind you of modern digital art projections that morph on your living room wall, yet this ancient alchemy feels infinitely more personal. Imbued with the wisdom of generations who believed that art was imbued with the power to transform consciousness. Historians still argue whether the transformative effect of these mandalas was primarily the result of their visual complexity or the potent interplay of incense and meditative chants transmitted alongside them. In one corner of the temple, a small group of devotees sits cross-legged on finely woven mats, their eyes fixed on a massive silk scroll unrolled before them. Here, the mandala's design is laid out in a sprawling network of interlocking circles, squares and spirals, each segment symbolizing a different facet of the universe. From the delicate balance of yin and yang to the eternal cycle of seasons, a soft murmur of recited verses floats from their lips, blending seamlessly with the rhythmic crackle of a nearby oil lamp. You feel drawn into their silent communion, as if the very air vibrates with the promise of harmonious sleep and rejuvenated spirit. A fringe tradition adds its own layer of mystique. Some Daoist alchemists believed that if one meditated long enough on a mandala's swirling patterns, they could visually decode personalized messages from the cosmos. It's the tale of a wandering monk who once interpreted a faint, shifting curve in a mandala as a lucky sign predicting a bountiful harvest still tickles your imagination. While modern skeptics might liken this to pareidolia or the brain's fondness for familiar shapes and randomness, the mystic allure remains undeniable, an echo of a time when every line on a silken canvas was a line drawn by fate itself. Your Senses are enveloped in the temple's deep silence, broken only by the soft rustle of silk and the intermittent hiss of incense. The mandala before you seems to expand and contract with a life of its own, each swirl calling you to let go of modern distractions, those incessant pings of smartphones and clamor of daily anxieties, and to enter a state of meditative surrender. It is a visual meditation that promises not just sleep, but a journey into calm, where the self and the cosmos touch in silent accord. You feel the weight of centuries lift as you focus on the subtle shifts of color and form, each one a marker on the path to inner peace, amid the gentle interplay of light and shadow. You recall the echo of earlier nights' Sumerian wormwood pillows, Egyptian linen canopies, Roman Somnus salts, and Ayurvedic oil rituals, all converging into this single, transcendent moment. The Daoist mandalas embody the essence of that journey, merging poetic aesthetics with the pragmatic goal of nurturing sleep. It is as if each culture left a piece of its own dream, fashioned into rituals that continue to whisper across the ages. Your heart beats in quiet rhythm to the ancient cadence of these symbols. And as you stand transfixed before the vibrant tapestry, you realize that the mandala is more than art. It is a portal, a conduit through which the mundane transforms into the mystical. The gentle spirals of incense, the tender echoes of chants, and the meticulous lines on silk together compose a lullaby older than time, inviting you to slip into a deep, restorative slumber. Historians still argue whether these symbolic designs were created solely for spiritual decoration, or if they were an early form of dream therapy meant to recalibrate the psyche. Regardless, in this sacred space, you feel the ancient wisdom resonate with your modern heartbeat. The mingling of artistry and ritual here is as vital as any high-tech sleep app, proving that the human need for rest and renewal bridges the millennia. With a final, inward exhalation, you allow your eyes to soften as they take in the enduring patterns before you. Your mind stirs with a quiet resolve to embrace the peace, to follow the intricate map laid out in every woven line. The sanctuary envelops you, and slowly, let the sanctity of this ancient art lull your consciousness into a deep, dream-filled respite. You know, without a doubt, that the mandalas and their aromatic companions will guide you gently into the night. Their silent poetry carrying you towards a realm where only tranquility prevails. You step from the dappled shade of towering ceiba trees into a vibrant Mayan courtyard pulsing with quiet activity. The air here is saturated with the rich, earthy aroma of roasted cacao beans, a perfume that wraps around you like an embroidered shawl in a clearing framed by stone altars and weathered murals depicting gods in flight and jaguars prowling among celestial bodies. A ceremonial circle is in progress. The murmur of soft chanting and the steady beat of a drum envelope you, while a group of elders in colorful cloaks prepares a revered cacao-infused brew. You can feel the gentle vibration of life, an ancient pulse that echoes the quiet promise of rejuvenation. Here, under a blazing tropical sun, tempered by a protective canopy, you are invited not just to observe, but to be part of a ritual designed to coax the body into a revitalizing midday Napa sacred pause in the everyday clamor. A low table carved from a single massive boulder holds a large bowl filled with water drawn from a nearby cenote. Skilled hands, weathered by years and tradition, meticulously crush roasted cacao beans in a stone mortar until they yield a thick, almost velvety paste. A pinch of achiote and a dash of chili pepper, ingredients chosen both for their flavor and their symbolic meanings, are mixed into the brew. You watch as the paste is slowly stirred into the water while fragrant herbs are added. Ritual that transforms humble cacao into a complex elixir. The air vibrates with anticipation, and you notice that every careful movement by the elders is laden with purpose. Inhaling deeply, you allow the aroma of cocoa and spice to tease your senses, drawing a smile that hints at both wonder and a playful awareness of what's to come. Archaeologists have long documented that cacao, revered as the food of the gods, was central to Mesoamerican ceremonial life. Ancient Mayan texts recorded its use in rituals dating back centuries. Mainstream historians note that this delicate beverage was not consumed merely for celebratory feasts. It was intentionally brewed to align the body's rhythms with the cosmos, offering a bridge between wakefulness and sleep. Historians still argue whether the ritual's primary intent was to enliven the spirit or to induce a meditative slumber that could restore inner balance. As you observe now, each carefully measured ingredient seems to serve a dual purpose, stimulating both the senses and the unconscious, much like a modern-day energy drink laced with hints meant to calm the mind. A quirky legend from these ancient times whispers that a rare, almost mythical variant of cacao was believed to have been touched by lightning, celestial spark that imbued its brew with special properties. Some fringe voices even claim that a single sip of this thunder cacao could cause one's dreams to shimmer with the brilliance of stars, sending your mind into fantastical realms where jaguars might converse in riddles and the rain dances. 2 forgotten songs. You can't help but laugh at the absurdity of brew that promises both a kick and a lull. Imagine ordering a hot cocoa at your favorite cafe and being told it's been blessed by Zeus himself, complete with a complimentary tiny lightning bolt on the side. The whimsical charm of this idea tickles your modern sensibilities, much like a well-timed meme drawn into the circle. You find yourself offered a small clay cup and a taste of the sacred brew. As the rich liquid touches your lips, an unexpected warmth floods your chest. The cacao carries a bittersweet intensity that intermingles with the spice of chili and the earthiness of the herbs. It is a complex flavor that immediately commands your full sensory attention, both awakening you and inviting a deep, meditative calm. You feel the gentle buzzing of your heart synchronize with the rhythmic chants around you. It is as though the ancient Mayans had discovered the perfect balance. A beverage that invigorates while simultaneously coaxing you toward a restorative, it's almost soporific state. I can't help but compare it with a light chuckle to your modern espresso or iced latte. Here, however, the brew is not about a quick jolt, but about a mindful transition into a cherished, communal pause, a ritual nap that refreshes the body and spirit in equal measure as you settle down on a woven mat at the edge of the ceremony. You notice the soft rustle of palm fronds overhead and the distant call of a tucana, soundtrack that seems perfectly attuned to the ritual. The elders now recline in carefully arranged hammocks tied between giant ceiba trees, their bodies swaying gently in concert with the soft song of the wind. You follow suit, easing into a state where time seems to stretch, just like the faraway echoes of laughter and whispered blessings. The cacao's lingering warmth diffuses slowly through your veins, wrapping you in a cocoon of gentle anticipation. In this moment, the cacophonous modern noise of daily life is replaced by a soothing chorus of nature and rituala. It's a well-practiced reset that is both physical and spiritual. You find yourself amused at the thought, if only your smartphone battery could be recharged by a similar ritual nap, you might finally stop babysitting that endless stream of notifications. The melding of flavors and ancient wisdom guides you deeper into the tranquil rhythm of the ceremony. You focus on the interplay of bitter and sweet on your tongue, each sip an invitation to let go a little more. The communal energy of the ceremony sends subtle shivers along your skin, as if the very air were infused with the latent power of centuries past. Conversation among the elders drifts toward the benefits of cacao, wrapped in a tone that is both reverent and playful. One elder mentions how the brew not only eases the mind, but also seems to spark visions of vivid symbolism, cosmic cycles, and lush, untouched jungles. Historians still argue whether these visionary experiences were the intended result of the brew or simply a fortuitous side effect of its complex composition. Either way, the mystery only deepens your connection to the ritual, drawing you further into this immersive tapestry of sound, taste, and ancient belief. As the ceremony gently transitions into a period of silent repose, you recline back with a serene smile. Your eyelids feel pleasantly heavy, the edges softening like the slow descent of dusk over a tropical horizon. Time seems to pool around you, the world narrowing to the steady heartbeat of the community and the murmur of the jungle. The rich, lingering notes of cacao continue to fill your senses, a lasting reminder of the ritual's dual promise: to rouse your spirit with its complex, bitter sweetness and then gently usher you into a deep, compassionate sleep. In a humorous aside, you wonder if modern sleep apps might someday incorporate a Mayan cacao mode that not only tracks your REM cycles, but also pokes you with tiny virtual jaguars if you're about to oversleep. The thought is as absurd as it is endearing a tribute to how timeless the quest for perfect sleep remains in this tranquil state. You appreciate how the Mayan cacao ceremony is more than a simple act of refreshment. It is an elaborate dance of tradition and sensory experience, consciously designed to bridge the gap between the conscious and the realm of dreams. The ceremony exemplifies how ancient cultures understood that rest is not merely the absence of activity, but a carefully orchestrated moment of renewal and community bonding. You are enveloped in that same understanding, a notion as profound now as it was then. The cacao, with its deep roots in myth and ritual, serves as a potent reminder that sometimes the most enduring solutions to modern troubles can be found in the wisdom of the past, as the final murmurs of the ritual fade into the ambient hum of nature. The rich memory of the cacao lingers like a sweet aftertaste, sealing its promise of restorative sleep. You feel your body relaxed, your mind unburdened, and soon, the gentle spell of the ceremony carries you away into an afternoon nap that feels as ancient as the ritual itself. It's the enigmatic interplay of flavor, ritual, and natural harmony leaves you pondering the mysteries of sleep, a timeless puzzle that each generation continues to solve in its own unique way. You step into a dusky village where the fading sunlight casts long, dancing shadows on earthen walls, and the air vibrates with the low, resonant thump of drums. Here, in a West African hamlet, the evening ritual unfolds as a delicate ceremony of Kola nut rites and drumming circles, a practice that has been handed down through countless generations. You feel the energetic pulse of the community as villagers gather under the slowly darkening sky. The rich, bitter scent of kola nuts intermingles with the aroma of sun-warmed soil and smoldering fires, creating an olfactory tapestry that beckons. You two join what is, at once, a farewell to the day and an invitation to the land of gentle night. You notice a group of elders seated on woven mats in the central courtyard, each holding a kola nut with care. These nuts, still in their rough shells, are symbols of hospitality, wisdom, and the bittersweet truth of life. In West African tradition, the kola nut is not merely a stimulant, but a token of communal bonding, bridged between those who share in the day's labors and the promise of restorative rest. You watch as one elder, his hands weathered by time and toil, gently cracks open a nut, revealing a smooth interior that seems to capture the essence of both bitterness and subtle sweetness. The act is deliberate, almost sacred, as if the very splitting of the nut marks the severing of the day's tensions before the onset of night. As you step closer, the low rhythmic beat of the drums invites you to absorb the collective energy, Swirling around you, the drumming is both insistent and kaminga-layered percussion that mirrors your heartbeat. Each beat reverberates through your body, intertwining with the distant call of nocturnal birds and the rustling of palm fronds overhead. In this moment, the drums do more than simply keep time. They seem to guide the soul, ushering the community from life's daily hustle into a state of unified quietude. You recall the Roman Somnus, salts, and Ayurvedic oil massages that coaxed sleep in other ancient cultures. And you smile at how every people, despite their differences, have sought ritual. As the precursor to sleep, a young man steps forward and accepts a piece of kola nut from one of the elders. He brings it to his lips, chews deliberately, and his eyes widen as the intense flavor, both earthy and sharply bitter, floods his senses. The taste, far removed from the sugary comforts of modern confections, holds a raw honesty that speaks of nature's uncompromising truth. A fringe legend among the villagers claims that if you chew the kola nut while the drums beat at a careful cadence, your dreams will be foretold with startling clarity and notion that blends superstition with with sincere hope. You can't help but chuckle at the idea. A ritual where bitter taste is calibrated to unlock the mysteries of sleep, much as modern apps try to decode your restless night. Around you, the drumming grows in complexity, transitioning from firm, deliberate strikes on a gem to softer, syncopated pulses produced by smaller percussion instruments. The interplay of these sounds creates an almost hypnotic effect that draws your attention inward. You feel the communal spirit as neighbors exchange knowing smiles, each person partaking in the ritual with a sense of unity that transcends words. It isn't just about the kola nut. It's about the shared acknowledgement that the day's burdens are being passed on collectively before nightfall. Historians still argue whether these kola nut rituals primarily reinforced social ties or were intended to chemically prepare the body for sleep. Yet in this intimate setting, the purpose is clear: to create an atmosphere where rest is both an active community and a personal sanctuary. You wander amid the gathering, feeling a palpable energy that mingles anxiety from the day with the gentle euphoria of collective belonging. As the ceremony progresses, one of the elders, wrapped in a brightly colored cloak, begins to recite age-old proverbs in a measured tone. His words float above the drum beats, weaving stories of ancestors who once chewed kola nuts before embarking on epic journeys or resolving long-held disputes. The uttered phrases blend into the drumming, and you sense that every syllable is a reminder of the transient nature of daily troubles. Here, bitterness is not a flaw. It is an essential element in a ritual that celebrates life in its entirety. Recognition that both hardship and relief are intertwined in a quiet corner. A woman carefully grinds a portion of the kola nut into a paste using a small mortar and pestle. With a deft hand, she mixes the paste with water and a dash of local spices to create a potent elixir. This drink, some say, is a remedy for the restless spirit after a long day's labor. The concoction's earthy aroma and slight heat contrast with the raw, unapologetic bitterness of the whole nut, offering a taste that is both challenging and strangely soothing. You recall earlier rituals where herbal tonics and scented linens were used to promote calm. And you can't help but see the continuity in human attempts to transform everyday ingredients, into keys for peaceful slumber. The drumming now reaches a mellow resonance, as if each beat were carefully measured to ensure that no one is left untouched by its calming rhythm. You find yourself swaying slightly, your body in tune with the layered percussion that echoes through the night. The cadence of the drum imitates the pulse of nature itself, steady heartbeat that reassures you that you are part of something larger, something timeless. Every thump of the drum dissolves remnants of modern stress, replacing them with a primal, instinctual rhythm that has echoed through the ages. It's as if the entire village has synchronized to an ancient lullaby, where the bitter kola nut and the vibrant drum beats coalesce into a gateway between wakefulness and sleep. A playful spirit seems to permeate the ritual. Youngsters mimic the drumming gestures of the elders, their laughter emerging like a series of soft percussion accents that momentarily disrupt the solemnity of the ceremony. Their playfulness adds a light-hearted counterpoint to the rituals, gravity reminding you that even in traditions meant to usher in rest, there is room for joy and spontaneity. In one humorous instance, a little boy attempts to mimic the deliberate chewing of the kola nut, producing exaggerated grimaces that incite giggles all around. It is a subtle reminder that rituals, no matter how ancient or profound, are ultimately animated by human warmth and humor. As the drumming slowly decrescendos, yielding a gentle, lingering hum that suffuses the cooling air, the community gathers into a reflective silence. Each person, having partaken in the kola nut and witnessed the communal rituals, appears to be absorbed in a moment of personal contemplation. You sense that the deliberate bitterness of the kola nut has served its purpose, to awaken not just the senses, but also the wisdom to let go of the day's tensions. The vibrant drum beats, now softened to a near whisper, seem to cradle your thoughts in a safe embrace, preparing you for the quiet voyage into sleep in this serene twilight. You begin to appreciate the paradox at the heart of the ritual. The kola nut, with its jarring bitterness, and the rhythmic drumming, with its energizing force, together forge a passage to rest that is both dynamic and deeply meditative. You recall the earlier incense-draped temples and the soft, streamlined practices of ancient Egypt and China. Each culture, in its own way, battles the chaos of the day with a unique blend of sensory stimulation and ritualistic calm. Here, amidst the West African dusk rites, the kola nut stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, reminder that even bitterness can be transmuted into the fertile ground for renewal. Historians still argue whether these kola nut rituals were intended to simply bolster communal ties, or if they possessed a more profound empirical ability to recalibrate the mind for sleep. Whatever the debate, the effect is undeniable. As you chew the nut and listen to the fading drumbeats, you feel a transformation taking place, one that is both physical and spiritual. In this moment, the boundaries between past and present blur, and you recognize that this ancient ritual is as much about self-discovery as it stays. It's about the shared comfort of a community bidding farewell to the day. Your eyes gradually begin to close as the rhythm of the drums transforms into a soft, pulsing hum that mirrors the steady beat of your heart. The bitter tang of the kola nut lingers on your tongue, a tangible reminder of the day's struggles and the promise of a restorative night ahead. You settle into a comfortable stillness, along with your fellow villagers, feeling that deep, communal bond that ties you together through the ages. The practice, full of its rich history and playful spirit, invites you to surrender to the night, confident that you are cradled by rituals as ancient and enduring as the stars overhead. You step from the warm embrace of distant communal rituals into a brisk northern night where every breath you take forms a tiny cloud of vapor in the crisp Scandinavian air. The landscape shifts, two rugged, frost-kissed villages nestled under an endless vault of stars, where ancient traditions persist, as if time itself has slowed. In this austere yet mesmerizing setting, you become part of the Norse smoke ritual of practice, as practical as it is steeped in mystique. Thick plumes of smoke, born from carefully tended bonfires of juniper and birch, drift lazily upward, casting an otherworldly veil over sturdy wooden huts and frost-laden meadows. The pungent, resinous aroma fills your senses, mingling with the raw chill of winter. And you realize that in these lands, smoke isn't merely a byproduct of fire, it's an essential medicine for the spirit. A natural purifier that clears both the physical and mental air. You move among villagers wrapped in heavy wool cloaks, their features softened by the flickering light of communal fires. Around you, bonfires are arranged in a deliberate pattern outside weathered longhouses. These fires serve more than to ward off the biting cold. They are the beating heart of a ritual aimed at expelling not only winter's chill, but the unseen specters that haunt long, dark nights. The crackling flames send sporadic embers aloft, each spark a tiny messenger of ancient lore. An elder, whose lined face appears etched with the wisdom of many winters, tends the central bonfire with a care that borders on reverence. He explains, in a deep, measured tone, that the rising smoke dissolves the lingering frost and purges the space of harmful energies, creating a protective shroud that prepares the soul for a deep, restorative sleep. Mainstream historical records tell us that from the Viking Age onward, Norse communities intentionally burned aromatic woods to drive away the oppressive gloom of winter. Historians still argue whether these smoke rituals were designed solely to harness physical warmth, or if they also served to bridge the gap between the mortal realm and that of the spirits. Settling onto a smooth, frost-dusted stone near the fire's edge, you allow the smoky air to seep into you. With an inhalation that feels almost ceremonial, you draw in the sharp scent of pine mingled with the subtle sweetness of birch resin. There's an undeniable comfort in the pungency, a reminder that, for these people, the purifying smoke was believed to cleanse the mind of restless thoughts just as it cleared the earthly chill. A quirky tidbit reaches your ears, some fringe. Accounts claim that a mischievous youth would secretly pocket a stray ember, tucking it beneath his blanket as a personal talisman meant to ward off nightmares. The bizarre image of a glowing ember hidden in layers of wool provokes a soft chuckle, mirroring the way modern sleep gadgets promise tiny miracles in glowing screens and digital tones. It's a delightful collision of practicality and whimsy that suggests even the most austere rituals had their moments of light-hearted ingenuity. The murmuring of the village rises into a steady, rhythmic cadence as tale and tradition intermingle. In hushed voices, the villagers recount stories of frost giants and nocturnal battles, where smoke was believed to serve as a barrier fending off malignant spirits and harnessing the protective power of the gods. Their voices, melding with the sound of crackling timber and the low wind whistling through the pines, create a lullaby of raw nature and ancient lore, each recounting with its measured pauses and reverent inflections, seems to blend seamlessly with the swirling smoke enveloping the crowd. It isn't hard to imagine that when Norse warriors sat by these same fires before long winter voyages, they inhaled this mystic smoke to summon strength and clarity, a ritual that, in its own way, was designed to tame the chaotic forces of nature and self alike. A humble wooden cup is passed around, filled with a dark, earthy brew concocted from wild berries and local herbs, called Himlin's Dag by the villagers. This bitter elixir is sipped slowly, its temps echoing the smoke's sharp edge, while softening it with the natural sweetness of fermented fruit. When you take your share, the liquid coats your tongue with a flavor that is at once invigorating and oddly soothing, a reminder that nature's remedies, as unrefined as they seem, often carry profound benefits. The interplay of the bitter drink and the aromatic smoke creates a sensory tapestry that transforms an ordinary night into a shared feast of ritual and memory. You cannot help but marvel at how these age-old practices presage modern trends, where natural ingredients and organic rituals are celebrated as cornerstones of wellness. As you recline once more on the frost-kissed stone, you allow yourself to be absorbed by the serenity of the scene. The flickering bonfire now casts long, dancing shadows that merge with the swirling smoke, forming ghostly figures that fade into the night. Above, the cosmos unfolds in vast arcs and punctuations of starlight, as if echoing the timeless narrative of survival and rebirth. The cool night air, now tinged with a lingering warmth from the bonfire, envelops you in a cocoon of ancient solace. You recall the gentle hum of communal Kola rituals, the soft chants of Daoist Mandalas, and the aromatic hints of Ayurvedic practices. A variation on the universal human quest to mold the night into a haven of peace. A subdued debate drifts through murmur among the villagers. Some insist that the billowing smoke not only repels the winter's numbing grasp, but also invokes the favor of Freya, the goddess of love and beauty, who is said to bestow gentle dreams on those who honor her with precise smoke offerings. Others argue that the true magic lies in the simple act of clearing the air, eliminating the miasma of fatigue and sorrow that accumulates over long days. Historians still argue whether these Norse smoke rituals were primarily a means of cleansing the body's environment, or whether they served as a symbolic passage to a realm of divine guidance. The debate, as lively as the sparks dancing on the wind, adds an extra layer of wonder to the ritual, a layer that beckons you to consider that sometimes the smallest ember can illuminate the vast darkness of winter. A small, endearing scene unfolds as you catch sight of an elderly woman seated at the periphery of the gathering, her hands busy weaving dried moss and delicate twigs into a makeshift incense bundle. With a practiced flick, she sets the bundle alight, and a thin, curling wisp of smoke escapes, rising in a tiny spiral before vanishing into the night. She laughs softly when you inquire about its purpose, explaining that this little smoke charm is her personal recipe for a night free of nightmares. Secret passed down from her own grandmother in whispered family lore. The charming absurdity of the idea. Much like the modern fascination with bedside gadgets that ply sleep-tracking data, fills you with warmth and amusement. It is these intimate details, the minor rituals, the playful laughter, the shared understanding of life's imperfection that make the Norse approach to sleep not just a ritual, but a tapestry of community and hope. Gradually, the communal ritual winds down. The bonfires diminish to glowing embers as the smoke settles, and the villagers drift silently back to their snug homes. Each doorway and window seems framed by one last wisp of smoke-a lingering promise that the protective veil will continue to watch over them all night long, as you make your own way toward a modest, timber-framed dwelling. The echo of the night's rituals remains with you, a comforting murmur in the back of your mind. A soft reminder that despite the relentless chill of winter, there is an enduring warmth kindled by tradition and shared human spirit. Now, as your eyelids grow heavy beneath the comforting weight of Scandinavian night, you feel a deep, resonant familiarity with the ancient Norse way of embracing sleep. The purified, smoky air seems to whisper assurances that even in the harshest winters, there is solace and strength to be found in the glow of a humble bonfire and the gentle dance of its smoke, with a heart steadied by the quiet power of ancient rites. You allow yourself to drift toward a sleep that is as deep and enduring as the rugged northern lands, a sleep that is at once practical, mysterious, and profoundly human. You find yourself stepping into a hushed medieval castle chamber, where warm candlelight dances upon stone walls and the subtle scent of herbs mingles with the faint tang of aged wood. Here, the quiet luxury of the medieval featherbed awaits, a marvel of craftsmanship that invites you to explore the very art of sleep as it was once perfected in these storied halls. You run your fingers over the soft, layered fabric of the bedding, a masterful assembly of duck, goose, and even swan feathers arranged in a deliberate pattern. The texture is almost surreal, as if time itself has been trapped in each downy plume. It is a tactile reminder that, long before modern memory foam and cooling gels, generations of artisans dedicated themselves to the quest for the perfect night's rest, near the featherbed. A stoic castle steward descends the winding staircase, his well-practiced movements echoing the lazy tick of an ancient clock. He explains, in a tone both matter-of-fact and inviting, that these beds were not merely for comfort, but a carefully engineered combination of support and softness. The method involved alternately layering fine down with coarser aged feathers, creating a structure that was both resilient and blissfully cushioned. You marvel at this ingenious technique, recalling how ancient civilizations, from the Sumerian wormwood pillows to the Roman Somnus salts, had devoted themselves to the pursuit of restful slumber. Historians still argue whether such refined bedding was accessible solely to the aristocracy or gradually diffused into broader society. Yet there is no denying that, for those who could dream in such comfort, sleep was both an art and a privilege. As you continue your inspection, your eyes settle on an elegant, time-worn bottle resting on a carved wooden table. The bottle contains an herbal washa, carefully distilled mixture of lavender, rose, and a hint of mint that was used to cleanse and refresh the bed linens. This herbal elixir served several purposes. It disinfected against the damp chill of stone chambers, repelled unwelcome pests, and filled the air with a soothing fragrance. In many ways, it was the medieval precursor to modern essential oil diffusers, harnessing nature's bounty to evoke a tranquil, sleep-inducing atmosphere. A quirky note from local lore even suggests that one certain eccentric noble swore by adding a splash of rosemary water to his featherbed wash, claiming it brought him prophetic dreams. Historians still argue whether these herbal washes were primarily a matter of hygiene or early aromatherapy, designed to influence the dreams of the sleeper. Wandering further into the chamber, you notice how every element of the room harmonizes in a medley of tradition and luxury. Rich tapestries hang prominently, their vibrant colors softened by time, while heavy wooden chests and intricately etched sconces speak to an age when every object had its own story. In one corner, a faint murmur escapes from behind an ornate door, a reminder that shared secrets of comfort and rest permeated not just the lofty chambers of nobility, but also the more modest quarters within the castle walls. Here, the featherbeds were more than just a luxury. They were a practical necessity to battle the drafty stone corridors and the chill that crept in with nightfall. Lying on a nearby bench, you take a moment to appreciate this synthesis of art and function. The layering of feathers beneath a hand-stitched cover demonstrates a meticulous attention to both form and feel. It is fascinating to note that while modern houses boast high-tech adjustable beds and pillows engineered from memory foam, these medieval innovations relied on the raw materials provided by nature itself. The soft cacophony of down and the subtle rustle of straw create a sensory symphony that modern inventors can only dream of reproducing with synthetic materials. You smile at the irony our contemporary obsession with gadgetry fades in comparison to the simple, natural luxury of a featherbed that has been perfected over centuries. Your exploration leads you to another intriguing feature: a dedicated ritual embedded right into the nightly routine of the castle. Every evening, before the hush of sleep could overtake the occupants, the household staff would prepare the herbal wash with the precision of a master perfumer. This ritual wasn't merely about cleaning the bedding. It was a symbolic act that underscored the importance of beginning the night's rest with purity and purpose, much like the earlier practices you witnessed. From the fragrant oils of Egypt to the vivid cacao ceremonies of the Mayans, this tradition underscored a universal human truth: to sleep soundly, one must first purify one's sleep space. You muse on this, you can't help but chuckle at the idea that today's nightly routines, while all their digital disruptions and synthetic fragrances might benefit from a lesson in simplicity and nature. After all, what could be more soothing than the gentle, natural aroma of herbs carefully distilled into a wash that is as ancient as it is effective? The castle's corridors echo with whispers of past guests who, it is said, experienced dreams of such serene depths that they awoke with revelations and newfound inspiration. Such stories complement the historical records of medieval life, where the combination of rudimentary medical knowledge and artistic expression gave rise to sleep-enhancing innovations. A particularly eccentric verse from a forgotten minstrel recounts how a bed so luxuriously feathered once earned the nickname the Angel's Cradle, because those who slept upon it reportedly woke in a state of near mystical clarity. You laugh silently at this imagery, noting that while technology now promises lucid dreams through brainwave monitors, the medieval method was as straightforward as preparing a sumptuous bed enhanced by the natural splendor of herbal washes. In this quiet interlude, you pause to relish the intimate details that make these medieval innovations so remarkable. The interplay between the tactile comfort of layered feathers and the gentle kiss of herbal scents speaks to a time when the desire for restorative sleep was met with both passion and precision. It is a reminder that, regardless of the era, humanity has always sought to create havens of peace in which body and mind might find solace. The careful layering of feathers not only provided comfort, but also signified an enduring belief in the transformative power of sleep. Every feather, every herbal infusion, was a step toward an ideal state of rest, a testament to the belief that sleep was a sacred passage between the burdens of the day and the rejuvenation of the coming dawn. With a final glance at the sumptuous bed, you retrace your steps along the stone corridor, the echoes of your footsteps resonating softly in the stillness. Outside, the castle's high vaulted ceilings and dark passages seem to murmur secrets of centuries past, of lives lived with an awareness that every moment of sleep was treasured as a rare and essential gift. As you depart, the memory of the featherbed and its fragrant herbal wash lingers on your skin like the gentle caress of a bygone era, leaving you to marvel at the timeless ingenuity of those who dared to dream of better sleep long before modern comforts filled our lives. You step through a grand arched gateway into one of Istanbul's most cherished Ottoman Nap Gardens, where nature's palette stretches before you in a riot of lush greens and softly murmuring water features. As you wander along winding cobblestone paths, every footfall whispers an invitation to pause and breathe the gentle splash of a fountain, the rustle of olive branches swaying in the breeze, and the heady aroma of jasmine mingling with freshly cut grass all coalesce into a timeless lullaby that cradles your senses. Here, this garden is not merely a scenic backdrop, but a cultivated sanctuary rooted in centuries of Ottoman tradition. Historical records reveal that these gardens were designed with a precise intent to create ideal microclimates where the heat of the day could be chased away by cool breezes and the soothing trickle of water. It is a mainstream historical fact that such spaces were integrated into Ottoman palatial complexes, offering both aesthetic pleasure and practical respite for prolonged midday naps. As you marvel at tiered fountains cascading over intricately carved stone, you can't help but compare this natural cooling mechanism to your modern air conditioner, except here, nature does all the hard work with a graceful efficiency no gadget can mimic. Moving deeper along the path, you find yourself drawn to a secluded seating area beneath a centuries-old oak, its vast canopy dappled with soft sunlight. Intricate pavilions with domed roofs and latticed windows frame the space, their delicate shadows a playful dance on the stone floor. Resting on a set of mosaic-tiled benches, you feel compelled to settle in. The coolness of the marble contrasts with the warm caress of filtered sunlight, and the subtle, refreshing breeze carries hints of rosewater from nearby herb walls. You grin at the thought of substituting this natural refreshment with a smartphone-controlled fan. Nature had the right idea long before tech-savvy millennials tried to imitate it, as you continue your serene exploration. The garden unfolds like a living tapestry. Vivid tulips bob in carefully tended flower beds, while elegant fountains send shimmering arcs of water sparkling in the light. The soft gurgle of a nearby stream blends seamlessly with the rustle of palm fronds, creating a symphony that invites you to abandon all modern distractions. It's as if the garden is gently teasing you. Who needs a digital timer when you have the timeless cadence of trickling water? This playful notion nudges you with a light-hearted joke. Imagine your old AC unit trying to copy this natural symphony clearly. Technology has nothing on a centuries-old masterpiece. Every element in this garden speaks of meticulous planning and a deep appreciation for beauty and balance. Lining the shaded walkways are pavilions that not only provide cool respite, but also offer inviting spaces for a leisurely nap. Plush cushions and low-patterned carpets under the dappled light create a setting where you can stretch out and succumb to a momentary slumber. A soft murmur of conversation from fellow visitors, all caught up in the serene magic of the scene, weaves a communal thread into the fabric of this oasis. A quirky fringe tidbit among the locals suggests that if you take a nap beneath a particular ancient olive tree, you might dream of the Sultan's secret recipe for baklava. Whimsical notion that makes you chuckle at the absurdity of culinary dreams and midnight snacks. Between clusters of flowering shrubs and along water-worn stone steps, you notice how art and nature merge effortlessly. The garden's design exudes an elegance that is both enduring and playful. Patterns of light and shadow dance on every surface, and each element, from the vibrant bursts of tulip petals to the steady, meditative flow of fountain water, seems choreographed to lull you deeper into stillness. In a delightful modern aside, you recall the incessant hum of your own air conditioner at home. It's now replaced by the quiet, orchestrated whispers of nature here. It's almost comical to think that, in this ancient retreat, even the breeze seems to be on a strictly scheduled do not disturb mode, strolling along a gracefully curving path. You find yourself reflecting on the deep cultural significance of these Ottoman Nap Gardens. Beyond their exquisite beauty, these gardens were conceived as vital spaces for rest and rejuvenation, counterbalance to the bustling urban life of Istanbul. Historians still argue whether these sanctuaries were reserved solely for the pashas and elite, or if they extended warmth and welcome to all who sought a pause from daily rigors. This gentle scholarly debate adds a quiet layer of intrigue to your journey, reminding you that even amid tranquil splendor, the garden's history is steeped in complex social rituals and timeless human desires for rest. Settling onto a soft cushion in one of the shaded alcoves, you let your senses absorb every detail. The aroma of pomegranate and mint from side gardens mingles with the earthy scent of damp moss, inviting you to close your eyes and simply be. In this moment, the structured pace of modern life emails, meetings, constant notifications, fades into the background, replaced by the undemanding, measured rhythm of nature's own clock. You smile at the thought that a few centuries ago, these very gardens served as a natural reset button. With a quiet chuckle, you muse on the irony that while your digital devices buzz incessantly today, here, a well-timed nap under an ancient tree is the original way to recharge one's batteries. As you slowly rise to continue your wanderings, every step along the mosaic-tiled paths feels like a step back in time, gentle reminder that the search for solace and refreshment is as old as civilization itself. The Ottoman garden stands not only as a testament to exquisite landscape design, but also as an enduring symbol of nature's power to soothe and rejuvenate. With your mind a touch lighter and your heart more at ease, you continue on the path. The tranquil murmur of fountains and whisper of leaves guiding you onward. By the time you near the exit, you catch one last enchanting glimpse of the gardens. A final nod from nature to the weary traveler seeking respite in its embrace. You leave with a renewed appreciation of how these timeless retreats blend aesthetic beauty, practical design, and gentle humor into an art of living that outlasts even the busiest modern schedules. You find yourself transported to a serene Edo evening, where the muted glow of paper lanterns and the gentle rustle of bamboo leaves fuse into a lullaby of quiet precision. Here in a modest courtyard, you settle into a perfectly crafted Japanese bamboo hammock, masterpiece of form and function that has swung its way through centuries of tradition. The hammock, meticulously woven from slender bamboo strips, cradles you as it sways in a delicate rhythm, its design reflecting a balance between art and practicality. Suspended above, a simple yet elegant umbrella made of rice, paper, and bamboo provides shelter from the sporadic evening drizzle and the lingering glow of the setting sun, ensuring that every element of your repose is cocooned in calm. The sensation is almost magical as you recline. The rhythmic sway of the hammock mimics the gentle rocking of a sleep cradle, inviting you to surrender to the embrace of rest. In the bustling streets of Edo, now a dreamlike place away from the frenetic pace of modern life, this form of hammocking was once both an everyday indulgence for townsfolk and a secret luxury savored by samurai after their long days of duty. Mainstream historical records tell us that during the Edo period, use of bamboo hammocks became widespread among cities like Edo, modern-day Tokyo, as a practical response to the humid summers and as an aesthetic complement to the minimalist design of Japanese living spaces. Historians still argue whether these hammocks were originally a mark of elegant leisure for the elite or a democratic invention that bridged the gap between commoners and warriors alike. Settled in your basque, you run your hand along the cool, smooth texture of the bamboo, marveling at the craftsmanship. Every curve and joint seems to have been formed with careful intention, a silent collaboration between nature and human ingenuity. The umbrella overhead, its translucent panels offering a gentle filter to the fading light, creates playful patterns. On the tatami below, each shifting design a reminder that nature and design are in constant, quiet dialogue. A fringe legend whispers among the bamboo groves. It is said that one wandering poet once had his verses inscribed on a stray bamboo slat that later became part of a famed hammock. He believed that the poetic energy of his words would flow into the sleeper's dreams, a notion as enchanting as it is eccentric. You can't help but smile at the idea of secret messages whirling in the night air, as if the very fabric of the hammock carried a touch of artistic mischief, alongside its promise of comfort. Every creak and gentle sway of the hammock is a sensory testament to the delicate engineering of Edo's sleep traditions. The bamboo's natural resilience allows it to absorb the restlessness of the day and convert it into a soft, rhythmic lullaby that coaxes your eyelids to drop as you become one with the calm of the night. The umbrella above shields you, not only from the unpredictable rain, but also from the startling brightness of a moon that intermittently peeks through the drifting clouds. Its understated design is reminiscent of the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, where beauty resides in simple, impermanent objects that function with poetic grace. As you lie there, a light drizzle begins. Raindrop pitter-patters on the umbrella and taps a soothing cadence on the bamboo, blending with the natural chorus of nocturnal crickets. Between the serene sway of the hammock and the soft patter of raindrops, your mind drifts toward the fascinating details of Edo life. You remember that during the period, Such hammocks were not only a source of comfort, but also a subject of philosophical musing. Some thinkers of the time proclaimed that the gentle rocking of a bamboo hammock could realign one's Ketha life force that flows in every living thing, helping to restore inner harmony. Contemporary remedy for sleeplessness in modern times might be a weighted blanket or a white noise machine. Here, the ancient Japanese harnessed the natural elegance of bamboo and the rhythmic protection of a humble umbrella to achieve the same trance-like repose. Historians still argue whether the primary purpose of these hammocks was therapeutic in nature or merely a byproduct of pure aesthetic appreciation, leaving open an enduring debate that adds to the mystique of Edo's sleep traditions. As you settle further, you become hyper-aware of every tiny detail, the soft creak of the bamboo joining points, the subtle scent of polished wood mixing with the fresh fragrance of the rain, and the quiet rustle of water sliding off the umbrella's rim. There is a playful modern irony in how you can now control temperature, sound, and light with smart devices, while these Edo innovations achieved similar effects entirely through design and natural materials. The charm is in the simplicity. Hammock does not need an app update to function flawlessly. Its beauty lies in its timeless ability to transform a restless evening into a tranquil retreat. You watch the interplay of light and shadow as the overhead umbrella filters the lantern glow, casting intricate patterns that dance across your resting face. In these patterns, you see echoes of the delicate, fleeting nature of life, the kind of ephemeral splendor that ancient Japanese poets tried to capture in haiku. Every moment is transient, yet it lingers long enough to imprint a sense of peace on your consciousness. The rhythmic swaying becomes a conversation with the night itself, a silent exchange that reassures you that rest is not an idle state, but a vital pause, a moment to gather strength before the dawn. At one moment, you attempt to adjust your position, and a slight, almost imperceptible shift in the hammock's tension reminds you of the engineered balance that guides each movement. It is as if the structure itself has a mind, gently rocking you back to an ideal posture, ensuring that the air flows evenly around your body. This subtle choreography of support and softness is a marvel of Edo craftsmanship, an art honed over generations of trial and refinement. Where aesthetics and function are inseparable, chuckle inwardly at the thought of modern ergonomic designs that, while ingenious, often come with a hefty price tag and an instruction manual longer than a novella. Here, the plain beauty of bamboo and paper speaks to a time when every object was made with a sense of purpose and economy that modern buyers can only dream of. The soft murmur of a nearby stream complements the ambient sounds of nature as the rain begins to subside into a gentle drizzle, with your head tipped slightly back under the protective canopy. You gaze upward at the scattered stars veiled partly by the passing clouds. Each droplet and drifting beam of light becomes a punctuation mark in an ongoing dialogue between human and nature. You feel as though you are suspended between two worlds, the tangible reality of Edo craftsmanship and the intangible realm of dreams. Waiting just beyond the veil of sleep, a light joke flutters across your mind. If only Edo samurai had such gentle hammocks to lull them to sleep, perhaps battles would have been postponed until after a hearty snooze. You imagine a stoic warrior, sword laid aside, gently rocking in his hammock with an umbrella shielding him from the rain of arrows, his face softening as the rhythmic sway carries him into slumber. Such an image is as droll as it is endearing, a playful reminder that even the most formidable of souls appreciate the tender touch of a well-crafted bed of bamboo. In this exquisite moment of repose, you sense that each element, the sturdy yet supple bamboo, the artfully simple umbrella, and the delicate rain has been orchestrated to usher you into a state of profound ease. The memories of ancient poets, the laughter of craftsmen, and the soft deliberations of Edo artists all coalesce into the steady pulse of the hammock's swing. You feel your thoughts slow, your heartbeat align with the natural rhythm of the night, and a deep, unspoken promise of renewal envelopes you. The soft illumination from the lanterns reflects on the damp surfaces, highlighting the texture of every bamboo slat and the smooth curve of the umbrella's edge. You let your mind wander to the endless possibilities that a good night's sleep can bring, a cascade of dreams that, in their abstract beauty, mirror the transient brilliance of the Edo period itself. The hammock cradles you as if whispering that, in this moment, all is well. The world outside may be unsettled, but here in the gentle sway and soft shelter of tradition, you are at peace. As the evening deepens into the realm of quiet dreams, you allow the soothing cadence of the Edo hammock to carry you further into sleep. The interplay of man-made elegance and nature's own design wraps around you. A timeless embrace that feels both intimate and transcendent. With every breath, you join the silent chorus of those who have rocked in these very hammocks before you, a legacy of restful nights passed down like a cherished secret, waiting patiently to renew itself with the turning of each season. You drift into a quiet clearing beneath ancient, towering pines, where the soft murmur of a nearby stream blends with the subtle rustle of wind in the leaves. Here, in the gentle twilight of nature's embrace, you discover a circle of Native American artisans gathered around a low-weathered table. Their hands move with quiet purpose, weaving together slender strips of willow into circular hoops and threading long, delicate sinew through intricate patterns. You watch as they craft Dreamcatchers, timeless talismans that promise to filter the nightmares of the night and cradle the sleeper in a net of gentle, auspicious visions. In this sacred space, you observe the birth of a dreamcatcher from humble materials. A carefully selected willow branch is bent into a near-perfect circle, its natural curves echoing the roundness of the moon. The artisan's calloused finger traces along the edge of the hoop, measuring and marking where the sinew will meet, knot by knot. Beads of various shapes and sizes, polished fragments of river stones, and pieces of sun-baked clay interspersed within the web, adding bursts of color and luminance that catch the fading light. This process is steeped in tradition. Mainstream accounts reveal that the Dreamcatcher originated with the Ojibwe people, who believed that the delicate web would capture the bad dreams as they drifted by, while allowing the good ones, as soft as dandelion seeds, to float gently down into the heart of the sleeper. Historians still argue whether the symbolism remains intact today, or if modern reinterpretations have watered down its original potency. You lean closer, tracing the winding paths of sinew with your eyes, marveling at the artistry that transforms simple, natural elements into a meaningful charm. The art of weaving a dreamcatcher is more than just a craft. It is a dialogue with the unseen forces of the night. The rhythmic clack of the sinew striking the wood reverberates like a soft percussion, punctuating the silence with a serenade of ancestral memories. A quirky tidbit from the elders, shared with a glimmer of mischief in their eyes, recounts how one particularly innovative weaver once incorporated a small feather from an eagle into her design, declaring it would not only capture nightmares, but also deliver messages from the spirit world. You can't help but chuckle at the idea of an eagle's feather acting as a tiny carrier pigeon in the realm of dreams, a lighthearted reminder that even the most ancient practices can have a playful twist. The conversation flows as seamlessly as the threads in the web, and you soon find yourself absorbing stories of nights filled with visions and days charged with new hope, all thanks to these mystical contraptions. One elder, his voice soft with the cadence of countless evenings spent sharing lore by firelight, explains with poetic sincerity that the intertwining of the sinew isn't random. It is believed to represent the interconnectedness of all living things. Each knot is a promise, a record of a moment when despair was captured and transmuted into enlightened calm. His words wrap around you like the gentle arms of a long-forgotten friend, and you feel a quiet reassurance seep into your bones, as if you too are learning the language of dreams. As your gaze wanders, you notice how the Dreamcatchers are not all identical. Some are adorned with clusters of tiny beads meticulously arranged in geometric patterns, while others hang simple and austere, their beauty lying solely in the artistry of the woven web. You recall the layered textiles and the aromatic herbs of past rituals, from the scented linens of ancient Egypt to the fragrant oils of Ayurvedic rituals, and realize that each culture, in its own way, has always sought to sculpt a protective space for sleep. In this Native American tradition, the Dreamcatcher stands as both shield and scribe, silently recording which dreams are fit to nurture the dawn and which should evaporate with the night's mists. Seated on a smooth log, reach out and lightly touch one of the Dreamcatchers. Its texture is a mixture of soft, worn, sinew, and rigid, yet pliable. So what a tactile reminder that even the most protective charms are born of nature's imperfections. There is a resonance in the delicate balance between vulnerability and strength, as if the Dreamcatcher itself is a microcosm of human desire to be both guarded and free. A modern parallel might be found in the digital filters we apply to our nightly tracking apps, smoothing over rough data in the hope of silencing the harsh anomalies. But here, the method is organic, a quiet dance between craft and the cosmic. Unknowna, fringe modern interpretation, whispers on the breeze. Some claim that Dreamcatchers must be crafted under specific lunar cycles, or that the color of the beads determines the type of dreams collected. One playful voice suggests that if you wear a Dreamcatcher as a necklace, it might double as a fashionable accessory and an emergency filter for sudden bouts of insomnia. The humor is subtle, a nod to the way contemporary culture often reimagines ancient symbols as trendy artifacts rather than deeply spiritual objects. Yet even as you smile at such comparisons, you appreciate the enduring power of the Dreamcatcher symbol that has gracefully morphed with the times yet remains rooted in the timeless human quest for peaceful sleep. Throughout the afternoon, as the creators work with patient precision, you notice that the process is a meditative ritual in itself, a moment suspended in time where purpose outweighs urgency. Their eyes glimmer with the reflection of the setting sun, and each woven strand appears to capture not merely air but echoes of ancestral wisdom. Amid bursts of shared laughter and moments of hushed reverence, the air fills with the soft, ambient sound of a distant drummer, rhythmic heartbeat that seems to call the sleepers of the land to rest. You are drawn into this living tradition, recognizing that the Dreamcatcher is more than an object. It is a repository for hope, a guardian of our nocturnal journeys, and a silent reminder of the bonds that connect all beings under the vast, star-strewn sky. In this shared space, you absorb a quiet lesson. While the world around you may be saturated with flashing screens and digital noise, here there is only the gentle sound of nature and the soft, rhythmic tapping of woven threads. The artisan's careful movements seem to defy the frantic pace of modern life, echoing a sentiment you've encountered before in the practices of ancient Egyptians and Norse rituals alike: deliberate slowing down, mindful reclaiming of space where the soul can rest undisturbed. Historians still argue whether such ancient practices were purely symbolic or affected real changes in sleep quality. But the undeniable impact on the human spirit resonates in every measured nod and every whispered legend. As dusk settles into night, you gather one final impression from this circle of dreamweavers. You realize that the Dreamcatchers design is an open invitation to reflect on your own nocturnal world, the good dreams, the bad ones, and all the ephemeral moments in between that weave the tapestry of your inner life. It's the gentle flicker of a lantern casts dancing shadows over the freshly crafted talismans. And in those fleeting moments, you experience a profound sense of connection to the past, shared pursuit of comfort and clarity that transcends time. The Dreamcatcher swings slowly in the cool night air, its web catching stray beams of moonlight, as if to remind you that even in darkness, beauty can be found in the smallest of details. With your senses attuned to this serene ceremony, you feel a subtle shift within a soft easing of the mind, as if the worries of the day have been gently filtered out by nature's own hand. The legacy of these Native American Dreamcatchers, woven with care and steeped in tradition, offers a quiet promise that the nightmares that come with the dark will be caught and disintegrated, leaving your sleep untouched and sweet. And as you prepare to leave this tranquil gathering, you carry with you not just the memory of a finely crafted web, but also an enduring hope infused with the spirit of ages past, a hope that no matter how chaotic the world becomes, the art of peaceful slumber will always find its place among us. You find yourself standing at the crossroads of time, where the ancient secrets of sleep converge with the quiet rhythms of your modern night. In this gentle moment of reflection, you realize that every tradition, from the soft, sacred grass beds of prehistoric tribes to the intricately woven Dreamcatchers of Native American artisans, has contributed a vivid brushstroke to the grand tapestry of rest. The echoes of Sumerian wormwood pillows, Egyptian linen canopies, Greek and Roman remedies, Ayurvedic oil massages, Daoist mandalas, Mayan cacao ceremonies, West African Kola rites, Norse smoke rituals, medieval featherbeds, Ottoman Nap Gardens, Edo bamboo hammocks, and the tender art of weaving Dreamcatchers all reverberate in your heart. Each practice is a whisper of humanity's ancient longing for sanctuary in the dark, an acknowledgement that sleep is not merely a biological necessity, but a sacred ritual forged by generations. As you sink deeper into your thoughts, you feel the warmth of centuries past softly enfold you. There is a quiet resonance between the precise layering of Roman Somnus salts and the tender touch of medieval herbal washes, between the gentle rocking of an Edo hammock and the deliberate strumming of a Kola nut ritual drum. The delicate balance of sensory details, the fragrance of jasmine in an Ottoman garden, the crisp scent of pine in a Norse village, the earthy aroma of frankincense in ancient Mesopotamia converges, forming a shared language of rest that transcends eras. You recall a time when every night's sleep was both a practical respite and a reverential pause in the march of life. Now, modern advancements like digital sleep trackers and ambient soundscapes might quantify or simulate that primal peace. Yet, they remain indebted to the timeless intuitions of those who came before. In this serene juncture, you recognize a unifying truth, that every culture, irrespective of its setting or tools, sought to cocoon the mind against the uncertainties of wakefulness through rituals both pragmatic and mystical. The care with which ancient peoples prepared their sleeping spaces, from the intricate draping of flax to the meticulous tuning of drumming circles, carries a message that transcends time. It is a lesson in mindfulness, a reminder that nurturing sleep is an art as significant as any creative endeavor. You smile at the thought that, while today's conveniences may modernize our rituals, the core intent remains unchanged: to fortify ourselves with solace, to invite dreams that restore and transform. As your eyes grow heavy in this quiet reflection, you recall the playful legends: a stray ember tucked by a Norse child, an eagle's feather woven into a dreamcatcher by an ingenious artisan, and realize that these small marvels embody hope and resilience. Historians still argue whether these practices were born purely of necessity or also of poetic yearning? You feel that perhaps it was both. Their legacy is carried not only in dusty manuscripts and museum relics, but in the soft cadence of your own breath as you prepare to drift into sleep. In this meditative state, the ingenuity of hundreds of generations merges with your present, singing a lullaby of connection, continuity, and ceaseless wonder. You understand now that the quest for peaceful sleep is a timeless human pursuit. Confluence of science, art, and superstition that has shaped the way we rest. It is a legacy that lives on in every whispered prayer for a good night, every carefully prepared pillow, every ambient fragrance that lulls you toward a healing slumber. The ancient remedies and ritual practices echo in the clever gadgets and wellness trends of today, providing an enduring reminder that the heart of sleep lies in its power to rejuvenate the soul. As you nestle into the quiet of your room, you feel the gentle pull of that ancient wisdom. A timeless embrace that beckons you to surrender to restorative peace. Knowing that the art of sleep is as much about nurturing the spirit as it is about the body. In the soft convergence of past and present, you feel a sense of gratitude for the myriad traditions that have come before and continue to influence the way you rest. The rituals crafted by our ancestors, each imbued with beauty, humor, and a quiet determination to overcome the fears of the night, to remind you that sleep is not simply an end to the day, but a sacred journey into renewal. And now, as you allow your eyelids to close in trust and calm, you carry with you the steady pulse of that ancient legacy, ready to welcome dreams woven from the fabric of countless generations. Word count 1054. Wind down in the soft aftermath of your reflective journey. You begin to feel a tranquil shift in the air, as if the gentle murmur of history is now cradling your spirit. The ambient lights of your surroundings dim gradually into a mosaic of shadows and sublime silence, inviting you to release your tensions and sink into a state of quiet calm. Every breath you take feels weighted with the benevolent wisdom of ages past, tenderly coaxing your mind into an oasis of deep repose. You sense that the steady rhythm of your heartbeat mirrors the unhurried cadence of a timeless lullaby composed by ancient hands and softened by centuries. Slowly, the intricate tapestry of historical sleep rituals gently dissolves into warm recollections, leaving behind only the profound serenity of a safe, untouched night. The vibrant colors of ancestral dreams fade into a pastel hazy hue, a remembrance of moments when life was savored with delicate intention, and every shadow was a promise of hope. Your thoughts, like drifting petals on a calm stream, settle softly around the corners of your consciousness. In this peaceful sanctuary, there is no rush, no clamor, just the subtle murmur of whispered secrets and the unfolding of a serene, stored of pause. As you embrace this gentle transition, the forthcoming dark hours cradle you in a tender, endless embrace, and every distant star seems to echo a lullaby sung in the language of timeless dreams. Here, in this gentle respite, you feel your worries melting away, leaving behind a radiant calm that envelops you with gracious reassurance. With the gradual, soothing descent into sleep, the world around you grows ever quieter, a harmonious chorus of peace that promises renewal with every unburdened breath. End of script. Sweet dreams.